Hi. Hello, folks, as you are coming on in. So yeah, I just have a brief hour today. My niece wanted to go watch A Quiet Place, which I didn't get to watch last time. I was going to go with my friend and things didn't work out. And so we're going tonight. Hopefully I stay awake for it. It starts at 8:45, but she needs me to pick her up at 8 o'clock. And so I thought, okay, 7:30, I could go as late as 7:30 and still pick her up on time. Just housekeeping rules as usual. Oh, and Martha is displaying it right now. Thank you, Martha. So if you're able to click the orange heart on top, the daily heart me, that would be great. If not, if you could just double tap on the side and give me hearts that way. Or as Erin is showing, giving a gift, that would be incredibly helpful. Thank you as well for that. By the way, I got my first transfer from TikTok of $15.12 today, which was fun. Thanks, Jen. And also, if folks want to share the live, you can as well. Again, this was a really brief one, so thank you, Debbie. So I'm not sure how much we get to talk about when it's just going to be an hour, but we shall see. Thanks, Caroline. So let's see what folks have in the chat right now. Oh, thank you, Devilishly Yellow. I'm sure it's yellow, right? Yeah. I heard about that. Number 8 for the most watched show of all time on Netflix for Bridgerton season 3. So that's awesome. I hope people are continuing to watch. I need to watch it. I need to rewatch it, to be honest, because one, I feel like I didn't watch it well enough the first time. Oh, okay. Minnie said they climbed from number 10 to number 8 in 1 week. Oh, that's so awesome. Ashley said, OMG, Nicola's recent post is so cute. Also, I just wanted to say, folks, thank you, Emily. If I don't get to say thank you for the gifts as I'm going along, please know that I still am very, very grateful for it. Even if I don't get to verbalize it. I always feel bad when I don't get a chance to verbalize it. Let's see here. OMG, yeah, Nicola's recent post is so cute. Yes. Someone had asked me in the DM and asked my thoughts on it, and I have to think about it a little bit more. But they said, did she share that clip because she wanted to show that light show or that whatever that light show was that she was shown or done, that's why she cried on the final scene. That's what moved her. And I was like, no, I don't know. Maybe. So I have to think about that more because they wanted my additional thoughts. And I was like, I was thinking I don't have any additional thoughts, except that is a possibility. Megan says, hi, thanks for always being a safe Lukola space. Thank you. Thank you for coming and helping make it a safe Lukola space. I mean, I always say to folks, I help create the container or the parameters around things, but really it only can exist because people adhere to the parameters and choose to show up in ways that are healthy. Jessica Lynn says, I'm on a constant loop on this. I feel insane. Diana said, Nicola is a queen. Ava said, can we talk about Jelly Luke with what is it? Singing more shoes with that guy. Yeah, I know. I mean, even though I'm not, if I did not see the video, I would not fully know what you just said, Ava, but I did see the video. And I love how Tiff, always captures the slightest nuance of change in the face of Luke. Because I don't know if I would have immediately picked up on what she picked up and slowed down for us, but it really was like a little side eye. I think it was so funny to see Luke have the experience of Claudia, because Claudia always talks about being a third wheel and not knowing how to function. It's like, third wheel again. But I think that was the moment that Luke was like, I'm a third wheel. You usually have your hand on my shoulder or something. I'm usually the focus, and now I have to figure out where I fit in this whole picture right now, and now I feel awkward, and it was just kind of funny. Stephanie said I rewatch a lot. LOL. That's great. You're helping push them up in the numbers there. Oh, Lucas's mommy said it passed season 2. That's exciting. Karen said, I have to rewatch again and again after someone points something out. Ooh, yeah, that's the fun part. Like, there is a lot of great things that end up happening in a rewatch and I think that's the value of rewatches, right? You just miss so many things the first time around. I definitely missed a lot. Since half the time I was watching it way late and I was falling asleep, not because of the show, but because, I was just tired. And so I actually don't know, like, I feel all clammy and gross right now. And I'm like, do I really want to go outside with my niece? I'm like, I don't know if I smell well. I mean, I've been in the house and it's sweltering. It is so hot right now, y'alls. And I mean, I'm sure it's not like Arizona hot or like other places that are really hot, but it's hot. For Washington State, it's hot. P Wade 45 said, watch some part of the show every day. Yeah, easier said than done. Honestly, I thought it would be easier in life. I just have to figure it out. I just have to figure out what I need to do. Maybe it is just like when I'm on my vibration plate, just watching like 15 minutes of that in the morning and 15 minutes at night. Maybe that's the closest I can do. Cat Mc30 said, hey, what did I miss? It is half 2 a.m. in Ireland, but I can't miss this line. LOL. Nothing has happened. And it's also going to be really, really short, Cat Mc30. So it's going to be all right. If you want to stay with us, it's going to be just an hour today. Hey, Nick's always a queen. Luke silent like always. I mean, he's not always silent. I think he also liked her post, didn't he? I feel like someone... Okay, Diana just said it right there. I love that Luke liked it. So, I mean, there is a presence. I mean, it's so hard because I don't know what their contract says, but obviously, like, they gave 6 months of their lives on a promo tour, and there's some folks that want to continue to, like, help move along things, sure, but I don't know if they're required to. I don't think they're required to do it. And I know that some folks are like, might be offended at the idea that why wouldn't Luke want to? But have you ever done overtime at your work and not been paid? Like, I'm not saying that it should feel equivalent to that because he's a celebrity and, his whole life is work in essence, because people are always like looking at all of that stuff. But in all honesty, he's not doing anything wrong by not actively pushing certain things, because I don't think they're requiring that anymore. It's kind of like they have to have people be able to have a cutoff from like being required to do things for the show, because usually people are trying to pursue other ventures, So I know some people might be like, it's just a pose. It could be very quick, possibly, but I don't know. Sorry, here. Mary said, I finally did my second rewatch and we'll do another one this week. Queen C said, I want their numbers to surpass season 1. What would it take to surpass their number, Queen C? Oh, TLR Vibes says, is May going to launch a rewatch party? I know that May said that she wanted to. So I don't know what the details are yet for that, but that's a good reminder that May did mention wanting to do a rewatch party. Empress says the guy holding the phone caught his reaction at the end. Oh, did he? I need to rewatch that just to see that. I didn't even realize. Kim Stevens, Solari said, I think he doesn't like when she's giving attention to other guys. It was just so funny. I also think he felt out of place. Like, there's so many times where it's always just been the two of them, and just to have a third party there. I mean, Claudia was used to knowing how to, like, just be there. But this was a completely new person, and a guy on top of it. And so it's like, what am I doing here? What are we doing here? Arisi said that video was funny. Lukola to the core. Nick being nice. Luke being jealous. YC said, shout out to everyone that stays up late. Yeah, I mean, my word. Y'all, I woke up this morning and then it showed that I only slept for 2.5 hours. I had to tell my boss I needed to take a nap. And I napped for like an hour and a half because I was like, I'm so exhausted. And thank goodness we have a lot of psychological safety in my work that request is not like hard to ask for. I know other places people would not be that honest with their managers. But our managers are very much about self-care. And because they know that, like, we bring our best when we're fully able to be there. Curtsy says all he does is like. I mean, it's better than nothing. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand people's desire for him to do more. I mean, that desire is normal, and I get it. And yet at the same time, there is this reality that he's not doing anything wrong by not doing it, because he's not really required to do it. And I know that people sometimes don't see movie acting as a job and promotion as a job, part of the job. But like literally, the best way I can explain it is like, if you're at your job and they ask you to do something more than what you signed up for, and then they say, by the way, we're not paying you to do that. Most people are not going to do overtime for no pay. I'm not saying that he's not doing it because he's not getting paid. I'm just saying I get why he's not doing more than he's required to. And I don't think he's a bad guy for not wanting to do more than he was required to, because 6 months of your life is a lot. Nina said, I feel like half the people here weren't following the press tour, so it's hard to make a point. Make a point. I think I missed the point. Like what? Make a point about what? I see, this is what happens when I have to scroll down to the bottom. I hate doing it because I miss context sometimes. Choice Ogba said, I missed your live yesterday. Oh, by the way, for those that want to know, I should get my laptop by tomorrow, and I should be able to start uploading the lives, past lives, up. I don't know how long those things are going to take, because some of those lives are super long. However, so I asked people, would they prefer that I upload the recent ones first or the oldest ones first? Now, there was a mix of answers. Some people did want the oldest, some people did want the most recent. The most recent had more answers as the preferred, so I'm gonna do more recent first. But I will date them, because that was the concern of folks. Like, please date the day and maybe give a synopsis, which that might be a little bit harder for me. I'm not naturally gifted in synopsis. Maybe I'll use Chat GPT. No, just kidding. Well, no, I'm maybe not kidding. I mean, if sometimes that's helpful. Anon 39 said, I love your boss. I love my boss too. Actually, I've had really, like, it's such a healthy work environment that even as one of my managers had to go on a special duty assignment, the environment stayed the same, because she was very intentional about the people she brought in to do the work, as well as like my other managers that have taken her place in the meantime while she's been on the special duty assignment have been very much about that life, you know, making sure we're taken care of, making sure that we're all right. AM.99 said, hi everyone, 3:40 in the morning here. Wow. Y'all are committed. Let's see. Caitlin Marie said that he needs a new team, but he should be pushing his work and promoting his show, and he's not. Again, like, I just don't know what he's required to do. I get it. Celebrity stuff is different. It's not like regular jobs where it is an overtime situation. People must want to do that. But the thing is, people like Bridgerton. I don't think any other, I'll say this. I don't think any other couple from any other seasons were scrutinized the way that Luke is being scrutinized right now. I don't think anyone demanded them to keep promoting, because when they were done, they were done. And I am actually quite amazed at how many people really still want Luke to do more, when no other couple, user with a lot of numbers right behind you, thank you, when no other couple has ever been demanded to do that. None, no one. Why does it have to be different for Luke? Nicola's just doing it because that's just who she is. She likes that stuff. drama fiend 34, that's probably what it comes down to. They didn't care about them. Sorry, but the truth is the light. Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. It's not because Luke is doing anything wrong. It's because people like this couple, wanted this couple, and all of these things, and that's why there's extra pressure to do more than any other couple has ever been required to do. He's genuinely 100% not doing anything wrong by not putting stuff up. But do I understand that it's going to be picked apart and he's going to be put down for it? I do. I recognize that. Chael said he just did a 6-month press run. So why is everyone mad he's not promoting? Yeah. And I think liking does do stuff. Thank you, Kim. Amy said, are people going to be mad when it is Luke Thompson or Claudia's season and they're not out promoting on social media? Yeah, and exactly. They don't even have social media, I think. Well, I don't know if Luke Thompson does. I know Claudia doesn't, right? So these folks are going to find other ways to promote, but they're not going to get on social media, or maybe they will, but they're not social media people. But that doesn't mean they don't love the show and they don't care about the show and they want the show to be successful. But there's just a lot of demands on Luke that I'm like, is that really, I mean, is it understandable? Yes. But is it required? No. Deb says they just didn't seem like any other couple. Valid. They weren't. I mean, people were not trying to sit on each other's laps or be so close that it almost felt like they were on each other's laps in interviews. So I hear you on that. There was definitely not a closeness. There was no blurred lines in any of the other couples. The other couples were very clearly acting at all times. No sense that there were any interest in each other. Thanks, Lizzie. Yeah, Brittany said, well, to be fair, other castmates like Claudia and Luke Thompson won't be in any social to do their season. Exactly. So, Kaylin said, I think maybe it's kind of because he seems to have just been kind of messing around since premiere night. I mean, and the hard part is his job was done. That's the hard part. It really is. The hard part is people wanted him to continue with his job and his job was done. And for people, his job was never going to be done. Like, it could be 5 years from now and it's like, why are you still not talking about Bridgerton? And it's like, some people are feeling like he's trying to distance himself from Bridgerton. I think that would be detrimental in the sense of, like, we saw how that how that worked out for other folks that chose to do that. But, like, I do think it makes sense, though, that a person wants to be able to have a career that spans more than one show, that people know them for more than one show and for more than one thing. You don't want to be typecasted. You want to have, people have said that he wants to do a villain role. And I was like, maybe this is method acting. People are looking at him like a villain. Maybe he wants to know how that feels. Chris, thank you. Amy said they just got off doing hundreds of interviews. It's a lot on a person. He deserves a break. Absolutely. And I think, again, this comes down to sometimes people constantly comparing Luke and Nicola to each other. Two very, very different people who function very, very differently from each other. And yet there's this demand. Why can't you be more like her? Because he's not her. Not even a little bit. And so to demand someone to become somebody else because you like the other person more, or you like the decision that the other person is doing more, is like, that's tough, right? That's just tough. I mean, and as I'm saying all of these things, it's with the pure, like, understanding that usually when people are communicating something like that, there is some sort of unmet need, right? Around, like, feeling like there were high expectations for Luke and he didn't meet them sometimes. Margaret said he's done the promoting and the show has run. How long does he have to keep doing it? Yeah. How long? How long? P. Wade 45 says Luke Thompson is limited on social media. Yeah. Next year, we might not get much on social media except for what people, choose to do. Because, I don't know if they're going to make them get on social media. But even if they made them get on social media for that season, they're not going to function like Nicola either. Because Nicola knows how to function on social media. Folks that don't get on here very often, they're not going to know what in the world is happening. And that's why I remind folks that people who are chronically online, like myself, have a very, very different reality than people who are not chronically online. And people speak as if everybody's chronically online. Like, you should know. You should know this information. How do you not know this information? Because people are not chronically online. That's a very different reality. And I think sometimes when I talk to other folks that are not chronically online, and I talk about this Bridgerton stuff and all this like internal drama about, things, they're like confused. Like, what is going on? Like, we're just watching a show. Why do y'all know this stuff? And I'm like, good point. Why do I need to know any of these things? I don't. It doesn't add to my life. It just stresses me out for no good reason. Diana said yes, but they promote until the 91 days. Was that something that was written in their contract that they're supposed to do? I don't know. I think that the 90 days was just a conversation that I've heard on Tumblr. That's probably the extent that I've heard about this 90 days. It's probably a Tumblr source that said it's somehow important. Obviously it is important, but if you've done 6 months of work, it better be able to be enough. It better be able to be enough to get them to top 10. And it has. Let's see here. Bree Young said, I haven't been chronically online until now about Lukola and Pollen. A lot of folks came onto this community. A lot of folks have the same story where they're like, I don't do this typically. I don't ship real people typically. Or I'm not usually online. I'm usually not invested. So there was something very different about Lukola that really registered with folks, that made them feel invested. And everybody has very different reasons as to why that is. Allison says, I think that Luke is overwhelmed by all this fame. Sarah said, can I say I just love how level-headed you are? Sarah, thank you. I try, but there are times where I'm less level-headed. But I try. That's why I really love what M. Phillips said in response to one of my videos around really appreciating the different Lukola creators, because we have so many different parts of ourselves, even, that sometimes we want to be messy, but sometimes we want to squeal, and sometimes we want to be reasonable, and sometimes we want to have that unwavering belief. And I love that, because that really, I could imagine each Lukola content creator based off of that description, right? I know who I can go to if I want to be messy. I know who I could go to if I want to squeal. I know who I go to if I want unwavering belief. And so, because I assume I'm the reasonable one, because that's where I try to be, right? But sometimes I don't want to be reasonable. Sometimes I want to be unreasonable. But I also usually have to pause when I want to be unreasonable, because I'm like, there's a place and time for me to be unreasonable. It ain't now. So, I just appreciate things. And here's the thing. I have very strict parameters that I communicate on my space, because it's my space. It's the place that I'm inviting everybody to gather together with each other. So then I have more responsibility in places I create. When I go to someone else's space, let's say if I go to somebody else's live, or if I go into somebody else's comment section, I can't demand for them to show up the way I need them to show up for me in their space. because they get to set the rules in their space. I get to set the rules for my space. I get to decide who I block. I get to decide who I engage with. I get to decide all of that in my space. But I can't go onto somebody else's page or somebody else's live and demand them to show up for me the way I need them to show up for me. But I'm in their space. Now, they might care enough to adhere to what I'm asking, but they don't have to, because it's not my space to dictate. And so, if I go into somebody's space and it's not healthy for me, I can't demand that person to create a space that's healthy for me. I have to I have to make the decision to not go into that space. And that's what I've done. Like, it's hard, especially on social media, to avoid certain things because it's all around me. Based off of the content I create, is going to be all around me. So there might be a moment that I see something I don't want to see and I'm like, scroll. And that's the power we have. We can scroll when we don't like something. I mean, obviously people are going to do what they're going to do, but I will highly suggest to not, so take this advice with not a grain of salt. Take this advice if you want this advice. Disregard this advice if you don't want this advice. But my advice is, don't go on to other people's spaces and tell them what to do, because it's their space for a reason. Decide within yourself if you want to be in that space with them. And if you don't want to be in that space with them, do everything impossible to make sure you're never going to be in that space with them. But it is their space. They get to decide what that space looks like for them. That's all I would like to say to folks. MD said, hey girl, hey, needed your positivity tonight. Thanks, MD. Hopefully I'm providing some positivity tonight. That's the hope, right? Tracy said, people who are doing Luke and Nicola content seem to be getting harassed by a lot of people. I think I'm really fortunate that I don't feel like I've been getting harassed by a lot of people, but then maybe that's because I haven't had a chance to read people's comments. So maybe people are harassing me and I don't even know it. But if someone is harassing me, I block them. Like, again, they have the right to dictate their space. I have the right to dictate mine. So if somebody's like really malicious, like, why am I going to continue to endure reading that when I have the power to block somebody? And people are like, there's some folks that have this mentality that you have, like, if you're in social media, if you have to endure that kind of abuse. No, you don't. That's a choice. That's a choice to endure that kind of abuse. There's a block for a reason. And I'm not out here trying to prove that I have the thickest skin. I may have the thinnest skin, but I will have the greatest peace. And you're blocked, kind of thing, you know? I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to act like I'm some big tough person that can handle people being mean to me all the time. No, I can't. I don't want to. That's not my deal. You can try to, other people can try to prove that they can handle people's hate. I'm not out here trying to handle anybody's hate. I'm like, deal with your own like unresolved trauma or unresolved issues that make you come into spaces and be mean like this somewhere else. Like, I encourage therapy, but I am not going to be your therapist if you're just deal with your emotions in a healthy manner somewhere else, or unhealthy manner somewhere else, because it's not going to be here. With that said, obviously there are folks, and I'm saying that for folks that are like abrasively, like just trying to get under people's skin. I'm not talking about people who are genuinely processing real feelings that need to unpack and de-stressed or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really unnecessarily cruel people. Like, what is your deal? You know, especially if they're grown. Like, come on now. Diana said there is room for all content creators. I strongly believe that, because I mean, I appreciate it whenever, thank you, Dowsey. I appreciate it whenever folks do anything. that's different than me. Because there's times I see content creators say stuff that I'm like, oh my word, I would never say that. Not because like I think it's necessarily wrong or whatever that they're doing, just because like that's just one, not my personality. Or two, it's just like, whoa, that's like deep willingness to take on a lot of responsibility of people's responses to that than I'm willing to take for myself. So that's just, sometimes I'm just like, whatever. Alicia said, I have a life. I don't understand myself. I need all to stop. Yeah. Danielle said, I don't go on Twitter, so I'm curious why people are attacking content creators. I actually don't know myself. I do know that I got a message letting me know that there were infighting or fighting between factions of the fandom, and that's part of the reason why I made the video that I did, just so folks knew and understood where I sit on that. Thank you, Cloudy Cloud. Where I sit and think about that, because like I said in one of my videos, I don't desire to be all things to all people. And I'm not going to be, thank you, Debbie, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Thank you, Steph, is enough. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And that sometimes, it's hard because as a person, you want to always be liked. But the reality is, some people are just going to be annoyed by who I am as a person. I can't take offense to that. Like, there's people who annoy me and they're not doing anything just but just there's just something about the way our personalities don't jive, and it's not a character flaw in them, and it's not a character flaw in me. It's just we don't jive. And so I never take offense when I feel like people are like, I don't like you. It's like, I hear you. Sometimes I don't like me too, but it is what it is. Hi Hill said, guys, why can't I find Mia's page on TikTok? Whenever people ask me that and I can still see Mia, my answer is you're most likely blocked. Arisi said, Twitter is all fights today. Ay, ay, ay. Thank you, Dowsy. Oh, she deleted everything, Kristen? Did she? Because I still could see her. She is? She disabled it? Oh, okay. Maybe that's why. Okay, maybe that's why. Oh, well, good. I can tell somebody who DM'd me and asked why they couldn't see it anymore. Because I checked right before I responded to that person and I could still see Mia. So I didn't realize she deactivated. Maybe it hadn't deactivated on my side yet. Rena said, I went to a Twitter live today and it was so disgusting the things they were saying. Yee. That's not good. Coop1717 says she deactivated. Oh, I hope the person who I messaged is in this space right now. I feel like I need to message her right away and say, you didn't get blocked. She just deactivated her TikTok, because I don't want that person to feel a type of way. Now I feel like I should message this person right away, but I can't do it because I'm in this space right now. I got to do that right after this. I just don't want her feeling a type of way. But that's because I really still saw Mia when I had responded, because I'm like, well, that might mean that she blocked you, and she's like, but I didn't do anything. And so I'm like, oh, now I really know she didn't. And I mean, not that she would have done anything anyways. See, look at me, I'm spiraling because I feel like I provided a response that made her potentially feel bad, when in reality that wasn't the truth. It was just she deactivated. Kim said, why I love this space. Phoebe is just so positive with gentle, smart people joining the lives. I really do appreciate the way that people choose to show up in this space. I really do. Mo said, I just noticed it more recently on Twitter and TikTok today. Steph Enough says, I can't anymore. She's going to take a break on all of her accounts. Okay. So even... Oh, okay. The person who messaged me is here. Okay. And I'm glad. Oh, I felt really, really bad that I misinformed you. I just could still see. her at that time. So I'm glad you know you did nothing wrong. Okay, so even Instagram, she's taking a break even from Instagram. Oh, she did Insta too. Okay. You know, I'm always pro people taking the breaks that they need. It's unfortunate whenever it gets wild. Because everybody is a human being, right? Like, everybody's trying to just live. Like, it's so hard. It's so hard, honestly. Yeah. That's why I think it's to my mental health to not read all the comments. Because sometimes if I do have time to read the comments, and if it is like too excessively negative, like that could do a number sometimes. Even if I logically like walk through it in my brain, why that comment might be unreasonable or irrational or whatever it might be. Well, I don't think it's ever irrational. Somebody has a rationale for writing it in the first place, but I don't know. Thank you, Karen. Whew, it's so hot. Why is it so hot? Kinselia said, I'm glad I don't use Twitter for Bridgerton. Sounds toxic. Busy NP, what are people angry about? Cat McThirty said, poor Mia. Tiana said, all I saw on my Twitter were fans embarrassed that Nick had to explain herself, which I get. Oh. I mean, did she feel like she had to? I think she chose to explain herself. I don't think Nicola ever has to explain herself, but people felt like she had to. And maybe they felt like she had to because, is that what started the fighting? They're like, oh, as a fan base, like, she needed to calm down this certain side of the fan base. Is that what they were trying to get at when they're like, she had to do it because of certain folks? Is that what they were trying to get at? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to understand for myself, since I'm also the Dragonfly. MI said, I feel lost. Samesies. And you know what? I love it. I love it so much. I love that I'm lost a little bit in this conversation, because it means that my decision is working. Because I told people that I don't want to get caught in the periphery of everything. Like, I'm just trying to stick in my lane. Luke and Nicola, that's all I'm looking at. Trying not to get caught up. Try not to get hit by strays, you know. And here I am, so lost along with Dragonfly MI, and I feel so at peace. I'm like, this is the life. This is the life that I was aiming for. Tam said, I still see her IG, but I'm glad she's taking a break. Oh, good. Susanna says she's had a rough day personally as well. Oh, that's always tough when it's like a mixture of multiple layers of your life happening at the same time. Lauren said, I understand people being annoyed with other people, but some things were downright disgusting. Oh. Were there any, like, were people just piling on top of each other? Yeah. High Hill said, why bother to be hateful? Let's just have some fun on the ship. And that's the thing. This is the reason why I'm like, look, trying to stay in my lane. Trying to live the drama-free life here. Because the shipping is supposed to be fun. Now, there's some folks who have messaged me to say they're off the ship right now because they need to for their own mental health. And I'm like, you do that. Get off the ship. Because the shipping is meant to be fun. And when it's no longer fun and it's causing people disarray and unhappiness and people can't sleep or function, like this, it's gone too far. Like for their own health, their own mental health. Like, don't do it. Shipping is meant to be fun. It was always meant to be fun. It was never meant to get to whatever things are becoming for folks. Like, please take care of yourselves. Mary said, my Twitter doesn't seem too crazy. All I see are Lukola edits. Okay, that means your algorithm is being kind to you, Mary. Rejoice. Nicole said, it doesn't help that people have recorded Mia's lives and shared stuff that was said out of context. That's really always a very difficult thing, right? Like, I mean, whenever I'm doing lives or whenever I'm doing anything, right, there is this level of trust that you're having with an audience that they're going to take it in its totality and not take it out of context. Um, but sometimes people have not the greatest of motivations, which is so sad. Um, Miss, I mean, Miss Aline said, LOL, I'm so glad that there are so many others here just as lost as me. Yes. Enjoy that. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I like that version of confusion rather than the confused Delulu. Like, I like being confused because I have less information than I need than being confused because I have too much information that I don't need. Like, I'm for it. Arisi said, Elliot coming in 2026 manifestation. Cloudy Clouds, LOL, you're dodging bullets, Matrix style. Yeah. Yeah, for reals. Like, I'm like, what's happening? I don't need to know. I mean, obviously there's things that I probably do need to know, but like, I have to ask myself, what does it serve me? Like, what, knowing this information, does it change anything about Luke and Nicola? Does it change their current relationship? Probably not. So the only breaking news to me is not, oh my word, Luke is sitting next to his assumed girlfriend. That's not breaking news. Like, we saw them in premiere day. That's not breaking news to me. Breaking news to me is like, oh my word, Luke and Nicola are together. That's a breaking news, okay? That is like, oh, I didn't, like, that happened. A change in their relationship happened. That's when you need to alert me. I don't need to know that Luke breathed in the direction of his assumed girlfriend. Like, okay, she's in the vicinity. She's in the proximity. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know every little step that they're doing because, like, it causes too much emotion for something that's like, what does that mean? I mean, okay, tell me if he gets engaged. I mean, then you can tell me. But, like, everything else is not important. It's genuinely not important that he's sitting next to her at a dinner. That's normal if she's an assumed girlfriend. Foy's journal said, and I think it made sense that Nick explained before it became a topic. Oh, yeah. I think she just did a preemptive attack. I'm just reading some things, just trying to decide whether I want to read it out loud or not. Only because it's like, I don't know. I wasn't in spaces to know that is what it is. So I have to hold off. Oh, wait a minute. Are folks that were part of the drama in the space right now? Is this what was happening? Because I'm reading some comments and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Is this what are people kind of explaining where things kind of blew up or why things were getting affected the way that they were getting affected with each other? Is that what's happening? Because this might be I wish I had, oh, thank you, Kim. I really wish I had longer than 16 minutes left. Because I would love to unpack this with folks. Because I was with my friend yesterday, and we were just talking about how differently we communicate, and just the miscommunication that's born out of it, and how frustrating it is when we have miscommunication, because we care about each other so much, and yet he and I just talk and communicate very differently, where I'm frustrating him and he's frustrating me, and it's like, but we care about each other and we're trying to figure out how to communicate better with each other. And so I wonder, to some degree, it's like, if people are having some bits of miscommunication, or because people communicate differently, if people are getting upset with how each person is. Natalie, on stay with us, Bachi. I want to. I really actually do. I really enjoy you all the time. But I also love my niece. And I told her I'll do. When I'm taking her, the goal was always to take her to Portugal, Madrid, and Morocco. I think that's the places that we were supposed to go. But we were gonna go tail end of December, but she's not gonna be available. So we're gonna just do that for her birthday next year, or my birthday maybe next year, and then choose a different place to take her. So instead, we're gonna go watch a movie. But she wants to treat me on her birthday. I don't know how it works. I was like, shouldn't I be treating you out? She's like, I got a movie card. I want to use it and spend time with you. And I was like, okay. So. Okay. So it does look like in the chat is going on right now is people explaining their perspective on like why things landed the way it did for them at least, right? And why it may have cascaded and become what it was. And the only reason I'm not reading it out loud is simply because I don't have time to actually unpack it. And I do think it is important. It is important, the things that people are sharing here, because I can see that different perspectives are being shared depending on where people are sitting on this topic. And it's almost kind of, oh, thanks, Kim. Kim said we can unpack tomorrow. You deserve to go be the best on today. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. And I mean, I'm excited to spend time with my niece. I mean, she is such a free spirit. So whenever I can have a moment with her, I want to take it. Okay, so yeah, I think there might be some maybe misunderstandings that's happening, or assumptions of what people are saying, or maybe not. So that I don't want to misspeak on this simply because I'm like trying to read through the comments and I'm like, it seems like it was a lot of emotions running through people. So, yeah. So because of just the lack of time today, is it okay if we go ahead and table that conversation? I definitely don't want to say we can't have this conversation, because I actually do think it's important to have this conversation as a fan base. But I want to be able to have it in a really like meaningful way, and not just kind of like just in the chat and kind of not be able to unpack some of that stuff. So that's my only request, that we table that conversation, not because we don't want to revisit it, because I do think it's worth revisiting. So Love May said there are positive things going on. Bridgerton season 3 just reached top 8. Yes, that is something to celebrate for sure. So, thank you for being willing to table it for now. I don't want people that feel like they're like both sides, and I don't even know if there's only two sides to this situation that's happening right now. But I can tell that there's a lot of feelings going on for everybody. And I want to make sure, I used to say to people that you need to listen to people so deeply that they can hear themselves. Because what happens when people are in high alert and feel the need to be defensive is that they genuinely can't hear themselves anymore. So we tend to become more, we tend to spiral out more when we're feeling defensive about something and feeling the need to justify our perspective or our thoughts, because we don't feel like the other people are either listening to us or understanding where we're coming from, or misrepresenting the things that we're feeling or thinking, or misrepresenting what we thought happened in the space. And so I really appreciate that folks are willing to table that in the meantime, because it's never, I don't mean it to be never to be discussed. I think it is something worthwhile to just kind of come together as a fan base and say, like, let's work through this, because it's hard to be on this ship sometimes, and we need each other. Lauren said, love your positivity, Phoebe. Thank you. Kristen said, LOL, I tried to change the subject to Luke acting in the mirror scene. I love that. Um, Lynette said, I love the new Nick Luke video with the radio DJ singing Nick's song. Yes, I love the little jealousy. Um, Kristen said, keep streaming it, people. There's still a month in the ratings window. Um, let's see here. Let me go to the bottom because I only have 9 minutes left. Oh, I'm so sad. But I mean, at the same time, I'm very, very happy to spend time with my niece. Let me be clear about that. But I am so sad because I just genuinely enjoy y'all so much. And to me, like an hour just goes by so quick that I'm like, it's over? Versus if it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours, then that kind of feels like just a perfect amount of time. So, CW2106, did anyone see Tiff's edit from the radio spot today? So good. Yes, it probably is a crowd favorite. TLR Vibe says, I love your mindset. We can heal through conversation. Yes, I think we very much can heal through conversations. However, it also needs to have those parameters so that it can stay a healthy conversation, because sometimes it can easily spiral out, right? So sometimes people do need a breath to step away from the situation, kind of rethink about, like, is there a way I could have communicated my thoughts differently or whatnot? And maybe people in the end say, no, I feel like I did the best I could have in that situation or whatnot. Sometimes people think back about, like, what stories was I telling myself about the other person, and how did I know those stories I was telling myself was true, and what stories could the other person have been telling themselves about me based off of how I was acting, you know? Kristen said, have you seen the video of the two Lukes? The Ajwa dancing down the stairs. So cute. Actually, I have not. I don't think I have. I don't think I've seen that one. Coop1717 said, it's not likely to ever be a healthy conversation. I don't think that's true necessarily, Coop. But maybe not for a while, maybe. Or maybe it's just, you know, whenever folks, sometimes it's helpful for folks to tell people what they're hearing them say. Because I don't know if you've had situations where people get in fights, and when you ask them to relay back what they heard, they add extra stuff that was never said. But for them it was, right? There's a thing, people have these filters sometimes that ends up happening in conversations, where we're filtering it through our own experiences, through our own emotions. And so sometimes it colors the way we hear what people are saying. Like, there's certain folks that, like, they don't communicate the same way I do. But I know that's how they consistently communicate with people in general. So I don't take offense because I know that that's how they communicate. Though I know that some other folks may be experiencing somebody for the very first time, and if they're not used to how a person communicates, they might read more into the way a person's talking that might not even be the person's intention. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're right, that's never going to be a healthy conversation if the people involved don't want it to be a healthy conversation. But if there is any desire for any folks to want it to be a healthy conversation, I think it genuinely can be. Kim says, your lives make me breathe. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad. YC, thank you, Ava. YC says, I need Nick to post so I can get outfit inspirations. LOL. She does have some really cute outfits, that's for sure. Dowsy49 said, the two Lukes and Lady Danbury, so good. Okay, yeah, I definitely did not. I definitely did not see that one yet. I mean, the thing is, though, I'm very, very behind on my DMs. So people might have sent it to me. People might have sent it to me. Ronnie said, too many absolutes, and that's not humanity. Yeah. I think that's an important thing to share. I'm not, and here's the thing. I don't need to agree with a person's way of communicating or the things that they say to be able to still figure out how to understand what they're trying to say. Like, I've said this in a live before. I've had a professor, well, she wasn't my professor, but she was a professor at the school I went to. And she had asked the question, do you love truth so much that even if your enemy spoke it, you could take it? And that's something that I always took with me, because sometimes if we don't like how a person speaks or communicates, it's easy to be like, I'm not going to even listen to this person. I'm not even going to engage with this person. And we might miss what the person's trying to actually say. So yeah, I mean, but maybe it's too much. I see, that's the only reason. Like, I'm like, I want it to be a healthy space, but to have a conversation, but maybe it's not possible, as people are saying. Maybe it's too fresh of a wound. So user with a lot of numbers right after it says, do you think Luke and Nick will show up at Wimbledon? Would love to see them together again. I mean, the rumors are that they will be there. Whether they'll be together there is most likely not going to be the case. Most likely it will be separately, but it'd be great to see one or both of them. Amanda White said, yes, Luke on Broadway would be amazing. Ratchy, you were not the only one totally lost. And that's why I requested people to table a conversation that really has a lot of, seems to have a lot of layers. And if people are not in those spaces, would have absolutely no clue what people are talking about. And so, that's why I requested people to table the conversation. Obviously, I cannot make anyone table the conversation, but it is a request. And sometimes when people's emotions are heightened, they might have a hard time stopping themselves from tabling the conversation. Arisi said, I'm kind of scared of Wimbledon. LOL, hoping for the best though. Alana said, side note, Luke Thompson looked fine as heck at Wimbledon. Samaria said, did Nick go to Wimbledon last year? Yes, she did. Oh my word, I just realized I have only a minute left. This makes me so sad. Brian said, right, sad not respecting. I mean, I am saddened that when I requested people to table it, people continue to not table it. I also do have compassion and grace for the fact that I think there's sometimes when people's emotions are heightened, it's much harder to have restraint because people want to communicate how it made them feel, what happened, right? So it's I get it though. So that's the only reason I'm not like fully like mad at it or irritated at it, because it's so fresh. But it was a request. Oh, and it's 7:30. Y'alls, I'm sorry. I gotta go. But take care of yourselves. Hopefully, take care of yourselves. Really. Do what you need for your own health. Thanks.